I told Ray Harmon is a guitar player in a band called Something Happens, that the man sitting opposite me was going to be sitting opposite me and nearly fell over dead. Because sitting opposite me, tuning his banjo as we speak, is Béla Fleck, who's live tonight at the National Concert Hall in Dublin. And Béla, lovely to meet you. Thanks very much for coming in. The banjo, would you describe it as a much maligned instrument?
Oh, it's the best instrument there is, so I don't care what they say.
You would say that, wouldn't you? You had to kind of fight to play it, though, didn't you? It wasn't really your instrument of choice when you were growing up.
No, that's not true. I wanted a banjo very much, but I didn't get one till I was 15. I was playing kind of a half-assed guitar, and my grandfather bought me a banjo just because he knew I liked strings.
Yeah.
And that was what I really wanted.
And why did the banjo appeal to you, of all the instruments?
I have no idea. It is so strange, because I grew up in New York City.
Yeah.
And banjo was really associated with country music.
Right.
And I didn't have anything to do with that.
And were you growing up in New York as a matter of interest during the 60s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
During the glory days?
Exactly. So I was into the Beatles. I was into everything that was going on in the 60s as a little kid.
Yeah.
But then, there was this television show called the Beverly Hillbillies. And it had a theme that sounded like this.
Absolutely beautiful.
And when I heard that, I was like, I want to play it. I didn't know what it was, but I just loved that sound. And then when I was 15, there was a movie called Deliverance, which was a frightening movie, but there was a lot of banjo in that one, too.
Yeah.
And so
what's the one in that now? I can't remember it.
Something like that. So
it's great to have somebody sitting off so you can actually play these things. It's great. When I did hear it was the Beverly Hillbillies, but I thought it can't be the music show of Jed and the family moving to LA after they discover oil. It can't be that show. That can't be the show that gets Béla Fleck into playing the banjo.
It's because Earl Scruggs was the banjo player, and he was the guy who invented this bluegrass style, the three-finger style. And so there's something profound about his playing, and when people who are going to be banjo players hear him for the first time, it's usually a shock and awe moment. And so it doesn't matter whether it's on a television show like the Jed Clampett theme or in a movie like Bonnie and Clyde or hearing his music, on the radio or something like that. But there's lots of stories about the first time banjo players heard Earl Scruggs. Yeah, he really is. Wow. He really is. He has a magic to his playing, and he came up with this way of playing, but it's not just that. He's a great musician too.
I have to. I'm a bit, confused that he came up with this way of playing.
Yeah.
What did he do that was different that nobody else was doing?
The banjo that I play, which is a 5-string banjo, which is tuned to an open G chord. When I hit it open, it's just a chord.
There's the chord of G. Yeah.
He figured out this way to use 3 fingers rippling through those 5 notes. So we call that the roll.
Right.
So he plays all of his songs with the roll. So if he was to play a melody, he would pluck it out in the middle of this roll. That came about, I guess he was working on that in the 30s.
Right.
And in the 40s, bluegrass was created when Earl Scruggs met Bill Monroe, and they played together, and it was like a band like the Beatles that people were so excited about this new music that they were making, and it was because the banjo had this whole new way of playing, and Bill Monroe had these great songs and this great approach to the old stuff.
Right.
When they came together, something magical happened, and then the banjo had a new resurgence in life.
Okay. So you got yours when you were 15. Did you just apply yourself to it around the clock? Was that you in your bedroom for the next 10 years?
Exactly. Yeah, I was nonstop. And by the time I was out of high school, 3 years later, I was a professional musician playing banjo, and I didn't go to college or anything. I just started playing in bands.
Right.
And 35 years or so have passed since then, and I'm still doing the same thing.
It's all going wonderfully well. We mentioned that the recession is emptying venues and pop music venues in particular, and pop. But you are playing around the world to packed audiences wherever you go.
It's been going pretty darn good. Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for something to go wrong, but so far I think we're an idealistic group, like the band that I play with.
Yeah, this is your beloved Flecktones.
The Flecktones. Everyone in the band is like a mad scientist on their instrument, and so I think it's sort of hard to avoid. Like when we come to town, musicians really want to hear us, but it's not just music for musicians, really. I mean, there's a lot of warmth and humanity in it, but also a lot of sort of surprising technical stuff going on.
Yeah. I've been a bit of a fan of the banjo in popular music.
Yeah.
But it's rare enough, isn't it? I can almost name the bands on one hand. I don't know if you'd know them because they're kind of European bands. Deus, I don't know if you heard them. They use it a fair bit from Belgium.
They're doing it now?
Yeah.
I need to get a copy of this down.
They're good. I'll give it to you before you end. A band from Ireland called The Thrills, not together anymore, but they used banjo a great deal. A great other Irish band called the High Llamas. At one point were asked to produce a Brian Wilson album, but didn't.
Well, you've got me here.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these guys.
Thank God. Modest Mouse, I'm told. Just see a text coming in there, but they're rare, isn't it? It's fallen off the popular music.
Well, I don't think it's been in popular music really for a long time. I mean, it was the popular music in the 1800s. It was the music. Banjo music was it, and over the years, when jazz began in the early 1900s, the banjo was still around, so it got incorporated into the early days of jazz. But as time went on, the black folks started to feel like it was a harbinger back to the slave days.
Okay.
Hearing that they kind of wanted to get rid of the banjo. It reminded them of a lot of things that they didn't want to think about.
Yeah.
Because the banjo came over with the slaves.
Yeah.
And so when guitar came into jazz, it kind of knocked the banjo out, and all the banjo players were suddenly out of work. But meanwhile, the banjo had a whole renaissance in this old-time music and bluegrass. And when bluegrass was created, it gave a whole new life to the banjo.
Okay.
And gradually people came and started making the banjo more and more progressive, but from the bluegrass side. So it's very interesting.
Ireland does have a love affair with it. It is very heavily used in traditional music. Are we any good at it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's a different instrument. It's a 4-string banjo that's played with a flat pick, like a guitar often is, and not a 5-string banjo, which is a more African style of banjo with a unusual tuning, and a high string is next to the low string, which is really weird.
Okay,
that's one of the most confusing things about the banjo, the short string with the 5 strings.
Right.
So I think it's a phenomenal style, the Irish banjo style, but it didn't come in till quite late. I'd say 40s or 50s maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
Before the banjo became part of it.
That. You're going to play something for us now, just to demonstrate. Absolutely, please.
All right.
This is Béla Fleck, ladies and gentlemen, tonight at the National Concert Hall, and I'm also going to give you a chance to win tickets to go to see him and stay over in the Conrad Dublin Hotel in a minute or two as well. absolutely beautiful. Much admiration and love coming in for you. People saying they watched you playing a piece of Bach on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Simply stunning, that was described. You played on Davy Spillan's Atlantic Bridge album.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Or mid-'80s, I guess.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
Love coming in from that as well. And people also mentioning, and we watched it earlier, you played with Steve Martin. Is he any good?
He is good, yeah. He wouldn't call himself a technical player, but he plays very well, and he's very creative. He writes his own tunes, and they're very sweet and warm and intelligent, like he is.
Absolutely.
I've gotten to know him over the years, and
what's he like?
He's very serious.
Is he really?
Very serious guy.
Is he not funny?
He is funny, but I think he has to get comfortable with you before the humor comes out in a natural way. I think he feels like, to him, a comedy is a very serious business, and he talks a lot and thinks a lot about what actually is funny and isn't. And he'll tell you, like, if you have a staged bit of patter, he'll say, well, that's not funny, and here's why. Or he'll say, that is funny.
Really?
And here's why. This is like a scientist.
If Steve Martin critiqued you, you'd have to take to your bed, really, wouldn't you?
Well, I think you'd take his advice, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I certainly would.
The man knows what he's talking about.
I certainly would.
If you wanted to ask me about fine points of banjo technique, I could probably tell you something that would, you might want to listen to.
I'd be very slow to ask you for your advice on my banjo playing. Of all the people in the world, I think you'd be the last person.
Well, and just, people have their expertise, and he's a good comedic genius.
Yeah, he certainly is. I'm a huge fan of all the stuff on DVD. So tonight, looking for what kind of set will we look forward to tonight?
Well, I've got the original Fleck tones together, and ironically, the last time we played in Ireland was a couple of years ago, and we were testing it out. We did a couple of weeks in the UK and Ireland and Europe with Howard Levy, who was the harmonica player who was in the band when we started in 1988. So, we've been together for like nearly 25 years now. But anyway, he left after a couple of years. And we've had a lot of different people in the band, but we did a couple of weeks to see what it was like, and it was good, and so we brought him back, and now so we have the original lineup. And when I first put the band together, I was looking to find people who were like me, who were really playing their instruments kind of in different ways, and would be inspiring to play with and learn from. And that basically every one of them could become my teacher, which was I love to be learning.
So it'll be fun for you tonight as well.
Well, yeah. So anyway, we're back together, and we made a new record called Rocket Science because our music is really weird, and it's been a great year. We're together just for this year.
Okay. I'll give people the chance to win tickets just after the break. Be the best thing. Send you along to the Conrad Hotel in Dublin and also along to the gig as well. So I'll give you that little clip in a few minutes' time. But Béla, thanks very much for coming in.
My pleasure
having you in the studio, and I hope it goes very well tonight.
Thanks.
Thanks very much for joining us.